yeah, let's say there were some complications. Hey and welcome everyone back to Kevin's World. If you're new here, thank you for joining. My name is Kevin and I'm a soon-to-be medical student at Barts in London Medical School. So in this video we will talk all about my interview experience, because I asked you guys on Instagram and it was very close. A majority of you voted that I should talk about my interview experience in this video. But for those of you who would like to hear about how to choose a medical school, don't be disappointed, I will upload this video next Monday. Before we start with this video, I would really appreciate it if you could give this video a like if you like it, and subscribe to my channel, as well as hit that bell button so you get notified when I upload new videos. Before I say anything, I would like to mention that my experience is of course only my experience, so it's very subjective. Your interview might be totally different from mine, you might experience it totally differently, and in no way I mean this sort of whatever I say now in an offensive way or sort of to criticize somebody. I think all of my interviews were very fair. Sure, there were challenging questions, but it's just the nature of a medical school interview. So let's start with my Barts in London Medical School interview. For those of you who don't know, Barts in London Medical School is the medical school that is associated or part of Queen Mary University London. So for my interview I had to fly to London because usually UK universities require EU students to come in for interviews, so it's not possible to do a Skype interview most of the times. So I had to go to London, which was a quite interesting experience, I would say. So the whole day started around 4:30 a.m. when I had to get up because our flight, my mom came with me, which I'm really grateful for, because it was the first time for me to be in such a situation, and it really helped me that she came with me. So we had to wake up around 4:30 a.m. to get our plane at around 6 a.m. to London. I knew that I wouldn't sleep that much in that night because obviously I'm nervous waking up at 4:30 a.m. I didn't expect that I will sleep that little, because I was so nervous and so excited that I actually couldn't fall asleep. And then before I knew it, my alarm already rang and it was 4:30 a.m. and I had to wake up, which is okay. I mean, sure, it would have been better if I gotten a good night's sleep, but you know, whatever. So then we made our way to the airport. We took the plane to London, everything fine. So once we arrived in London, I think that's when everything started to sort of get a bit more complicated, and I don't know what it was with that day, guys, but really a lot of things went wrong, and I think, yeah, let's say there were some complications. So, but the first experience I had was really nice, because in the UK you have to show your passport when you enter the country, even as an EU citizen, and border force officer, she was really nice, and I don't know how she did that, but she was asking me where I'm from. So I said from Germany, and she was like, okay, so you're probably here for a university interview. Impressive. So she wished me the best of luck, and it was a really nice experience. We had booked a bus from the airport to Whitechapel Station, where the campus of Barts in the London Medical School is and where the interview was supposed to be. From there on, problems started. So we were a bit lost, so I went to this lady that worked for that bus company, and she told me that today, unfortunately, Whitechapel Station is sort of not accessible. So they got informed about 2 hours ago that there is some sort of construction or road work going on, so the bus does not go to Whitechapel Station, so we either have to drop out the bus station earlier or after Whitechapel Station. Great. I've been to London before when I was about 12 years old, but just for touristy things, so of course I'm not from London, and it was, yeah, an interesting experience, but I think it was okay. In the end, I had Google Maps, I had data, because in the EU we still have data everywhere, although Britain is not part of the EU anymore. But that's a whole nother topic. We managed to get out a station earlier, which was actually at Mile End, so I saw the main campus of Queen Mary University, and then with Google Maps we made our way to the medical campus where the interviews were supposed to be held. We had plenty of time left, so my mom and me decided to go for some sort of sightseeing, grab a bite to eat, and then come back. Yeah, everything went fine, went for some sightseeing, but then on our way back something really bad happened. My mom doesn't speak any English or just the basics. This was a huge problem when we got lost in the underground and got separated in the underground. Because my mom, she jumped on the train that we were supposed to take to Whitechapel station, and I wanted to go we were like right behind each other, but then like suddenly the doors closed and I couldn't get in, and you should have seen the look on the face of my mom and mine. Like, I really panicked because I knew that it's a stressful situation for my mom. She's in a whole new city, in such a big city, like, I mean, it's London. She doesn't speak the language, and then she gets separated from me, and I was like, oi, 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 oi. And then I realized the train that she hopped on is going into the other direction, so not in the direction of Whitechapel station, but into the opposite direction. In the underground, you also don't have service, so I couldn't call her, which was another big problem, as you can imagine. But I mean, in the end it worked out. She dropped off after she realized that there's probably no Whitechapel in the direction she's going. And then she dropped off at Liverpool Street, where I could pick her up, which was, yeah, an interesting experience, a very stressful experience. I think I managed to talk to every underground worker that was there. Sort of, they have like those red jackets, so you can recognize them fairly easily. And I talked to them and explained to them this situation, and they had like the walkie-talkies, and they were like checking where my mom was. So in the end it all worked out, but still a very interesting experience. So after that we finally went to the Garrett building, where they have the interviews at Barts and London Medical School. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I'm not gonna lie, by that time I was already a bit stressed, not a bit, but I was quite stressed, very nervous, and yeah, that was maybe not the best start into my interview. So when we arrived there, I registered, I gave them my ID, there were some student ambassadors, and one of the student ambassadors, shout out to Ola, said my mom and me are speaking in Polish, so she approached us and she talked to us, and she was super, super helpful and really nice and calmed me down before my interview. But then the time came, they called us and we had to go downstairs, and there was like a big room which was divided into, I think, 6 different booths where the interviews were held. So they were like panels A to F, I think. When the interview started, we were invited into the booth. There were 2 interviewers and 1 student. All of them asked questions throughout the interview. If you have seen my other video, which I will link somewhere here, where I talk all about the medical interview in general. At Barts and the London Medical School, they use a panel interview. At Barts and the London Medical School, it's also around 20 minutes long, and what they do is that they send you an article before the interview, which you have to read and understand, and of course be prepared to answer questions about it. When I saw my article, I was really happy, because really I can't complain. It was a nice topic, the topic was really interesting and relevant. First few questions were about the article, and everything went really great. So the interviews were really nice, and I felt confident. My answers, I think, were pretty good. And I can't tell you exactly what the questions were, because obviously that's unfair, and also I think there's this non-disclosure thing. The other questions were fairly what you would expect. My motivation for medicine was one question which really, really threw me off. And honestly, guys, this question, I don't know what happened there, but I panicked a bit. And then I finally realized that there's no sense in panicking. So I told them, I'm really not sure. I cannot come up with an answer. I'm very sorry. Can we please move on to the next question? Upset or something? Obviously they were not, and they were like, just okay, that's fine. And we moved on to the next question. And although everything I think was fine, now that I look back at it, in that situation, in my head, all the alarms went off, and I was like, shit, I messed up. This is horrible. Probably I don't even have to sit here anymore. They already made the decision. I'm getting rejected. It's over. They're just like keeping me now here to be nice and polite. And obviously none of that was true, but it was what was going on in my head. And from that point on, I was so not confident in myself that even like questions that were so like easy or relatively easy, because you know that they probably would come up, were sort of a challenge for me. But I managed to get through the end. I asked some questions and it was nice, and in the end I thanked her for the time and we said goodbye, and it was alright, I think, now in hindsight. But back at that day, oof, I went out of that booth and was like, okay, it's over. Barts and London Medical School rejection, it's over, thank you. And so yeah, I'm really sorry for my mom that she had to sort of suffer because of my bad mood. But after that interview, I was in a really, really bad mood. I got an offer in the end, and that's also like the offer that I firmed. I've never expected it. But I think the moral of the story is that although you might think that you totally messed up, probably you didn't. After my interview, there were all sorts of other problems, like our flight was delayed. That meant we couldn't get our connecting trains and all sorts of things. By the end, when I finally arrived home and was in my bed, I was just so grateful that that day was over.
2,000 years later.
My next two interviews were at Manchester and at Aberdeen University. Both of them were MMI interviews, so that's different to the panel interview I had experienced at Barts in the London Medical School. And funny enough, my Manchester interview was at the 12th of February 2020, which was also my 19th birthday. Having a medical interview at your birthday is an interesting experience. I didn't feel birthday-ish at all because, you know, of course medical interviews are a formal setting, you're a bit nervous and stuff, but I mean it was nice nevertheless. And then Aberdeen interview was at the 14th of February 2020, so yeah, I tried to put them in 1 week, so I only have to fly in once. So both of them were really nice. They were both MMI interviews which were fairly similar. Like I think at Manchester we had 7 stations, and in Aberdeen I think 8 or 9 stations for like 7 minutes, and in between the stations we had like 1 or 2 minutes to prepare for the next station. Questions and like tasks were what I've expected, like similar to the panel when it came to like motivation for medicine, but also for the task-based like role plays. That was alright because there was nothing really that was like, okay, that's super unexpected. And I think the interviewers at both interviews were really nice. At both universities it was like that you get a quick briefing before the interview, so you know, you are prepared when you go into sort of the MMI. At Manchester there was only one station that I thought was quite weird, and afterwards when I talked with other applicants, when we took the tour of the campus, we all agreed that this one station was really weird and we all didn't really know what to do. But that's okay. I mean, I've learned from my Barts in the London Medical School interview experience that even if there's something that throws you a bit off, it's okay. I wished I knew that already at my Barts in the London Medical School interview, but you know, it's okay. I knew it at Manchester, so when I left the station I was like, okay, this station was quite weird, whatever, I'm just gonna move on. So now I just would like to give you one thing that I like the most about each interview, sort of to end this video on a positive note. So at Barts in London Medical School, I think my favorite thing was the article, because the article is something you get sent 2 weeks before the actual interview. So of course you don't know the questions they will ask you about the article, but at least you have some sort of idea and you can prepare for that, so it's not totally uncertain what's going to happen, and I think that helped me a lot. Then for my Manchester interview, I think what was quite nice there was that there was a resting station. So there was one station where you would just sit for like the whole time of the station, and there was a current medical student from Manchester University, and you could just like talk. You could also sit in silence if that's what's better for you. Yeah, the resting station I think was a really nice idea and helped me a lot. And then at Aberdeen University, I think my favorite part was the roleplay station. I think the roleplay station there was really good, and it was also a situation that I really could see that this might happen in real life, and it was sort of relatable. So basically that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found something helpful or, I don't know, enjoyable, amusing about this video. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and definitely check on my other videos, which I will link here. And I hope I see you guys next time, and until then, stay safe and bye.